Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly Wednesday Innovate and Caffeinate. My name is Melanie, and I'm with the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation, and I'm also an organizer for Hopkins County Innovate and Caffeinate. We're so excited that you are joining us today. Throughout COVID-19, we have decided to partner with Murray-Callaway County Innovate and Caffeinate to bring regional resources and presentations to the community every Wednesday at 8:30. So hope that you're happy and healthy this morning and joining us. The first thing that I want to do is we want to always thank our sponsors in Madisonville. We have Hancock Bank that sponsors Innovate and Caffeinate, Campfire Roasters, and West Kentucky Rise. So even though we're not meeting in person today, thank you so much for continuing your support of Innovate and Caffeinate. The other thing that I want to do is, as you're logging on here, please make sure and share this stream. Share it on your page so that other people can tune in and hear about what Innovate and Caffeinate is about, but also as a way to support a local entrepreneur. We all know that in these times, supporting our local communities is one of the most important things we can be doing right now. So what a great way to support is to, share the stream and let other people join in too. I am kind of taking place of Karen Tapp today. Karen is always the person who welcomes our group, and she does it with such enthusiasm, and we're so sad that she was not able to do that for us today. So if you're watching, hi Karen, we miss you. One of the things that Karen always does is she asks a question to our group. And so I'm going to ask a question on behalf of Karen today. And as you're watching on Facebook, please type in your comments. We want this to be interactive. We want to hear what's going on in your business and be able to read through some of those. So what Karen and what our Innovate and Caffeinate group wants to know today is, what is something that your business has adapted to during this time that is working so well that you might even keep it after all this is over? I think on economic development side, there are so many things that we have changed and implemented while we're working from home. And what we have realized is we can really do some of these things anywhere. Even something as little as transferring the phones when we need to, when we all have to be away from a meeting. We figured out things that we didn't necessarily know how to do before, but we can stay connected no matter where we are. If somebody is out of town for a week at a conference, we can still meet together and have that connectivity, because that's one of the things that we thrive on. Our office works so well together, and keeping that communication and connectivity is so important. So for me, I think that's something that if I'm gone for a week at a conference, or if Ray's gone, or Ruth Ann, the ability to do a Zoom meeting and catch up and say, hey, this is where we're at. It just brings energy to your group. And so hopefully for us, that's one of the things that we can continue with. So today, before, I don't want to keep you too long. I do want to introduce our presenters for today. We are welcome. You can probably see them on the screen right now. We are welcome with Anthony and Tracy Munger of Stuart's Termite and Pest Control here in Madisonville. So if you're watching from another community, they are in Madisonville, Kentucky, but they do serve West Kentucky itself. This is a family-owned and operated business since 1961. They do commercial and residential pest control. And one of the reasons that we wanted to bring them on here too is because they are pivoting their business in these crazy times of businesses not knowing if they're going to be able to stay open, or how am I going to pay my employees, or what is going to happen to my business. They are looking as, hey, we're an essential business already, but how can we further serve our community? How can we further enhance our business? And what a great opportunity to watch entrepreneurs look and say, hey, there's something else out there for me right now. And so they have added a virus disinfectant to their service list. And so we're very excited to have them today. And so I am going to lead it off to Anthony and Tracy. Thank you.
Well, thank you for letting us come on here and give our little tiny spiel. Let me go ahead and introduce, we have some people here at the table with us, some of our employees. Charles Brooks, he's in Webster County, that's where he lives. Chris Penley is in Madisonville, that's where he lives. Tracy and myself, we're in Madisonville where the business is. It's based out of Madisonville. We cover Henderson, Fort Campbell, Ohio County, Paducah, Murray, Shawneetown, we get around. Bill Stewart's not here with us. Rhonda Stewart's not here with us, and some of our part-time employees aren't here. Stewart's Pest Control is a family-owned business. It started out as one of our family members had it was called Toxol in 1950s. My grandfather took it over in 1961 and changed the name to Stewart's Pest Control that it is today. Since then, it's gone through my stepfather and then myself. We cover anything you can imagine, whether that be ants, termites, bees, wood bees, bed bugs. That's a huge one that just started up within the last 10 years. Anything else you can imagine that we cover?
Fleas, wasps,
anything you can imagine. It's just,
it's a never-ending list.
yes, and it's always something new. I mean, 5-10 years ago, we didn't even know what a bed bug looked like. I went on the first job that I was going on with my stepfather, and he said, yeah, I remember helping Dad back in the early 70s, maybe the 80s, with a bed bug job. That's the first we had ever dealt with, really. Since the COVID thing had entered, we have added a disinfecting and a sanitizing. And one night I was sitting in my chair watching the evening news, and it was about 8 o'clock, and I had a customer call and say, hey, is there anything you can do to help me stop this spread in my house? And I said, well, I don't know, let me see. So I called a supplier of ours, and he was still up, and he said, I don't know, I'll get back to you. And I was thinking it would be the next day. And he called me back in about 10 minutes and said, yes, we have something. And we run it through our fog machine. We can sanitize houses. We have done businesses. We have done food trucks, restaurants, police cars.
We're really reaching out to our city right now and wanting to do city offices, police cars, fire trucks, ambulances, anything that we possibly can do to be able to help our community, help flatten that curve. We're willing to do to adapt to all these different changes that we're doing. So I know a lot of it seems to be bug related, but we have kind of overcame and started this disinfecting just so we could help our community.
We do playground equipment, decks, outdoor spaces, patio equipment. Wherever you are is something that can be sanitized and disinfected. Churches, we do quite a few churches. What else have we done?
And of course, I know right now with our golf courses closed, when those start to open back up, we're going to probably be targeting those because we can sanitize those golf carts, flag poles. I mean, and we have so many different opportunities for us to be able to disinfect. It's unreal.
One of the local golf courses here in Madisonville is already prepared for when they open up. I've already set them up with sanitizing equipment. So as soon as the cart comes back in from being used, it's able to be sanitized for the next person to come through. That's Lakeshore on the north end of town. Does anybody have any questions? I can't really see if anything's scrolling on the screen or anything.
We're trying to monitor a couple of our Facebook pages for questions right now. So give us just a minute and we'll see.
Okay. Do you all have anything? All right.
And you'll notice if you guys will kind of look at our Facebook page at Stuart's Termite and Pest Control. You can find us on Facebook. We are today running a like share contest for because today is Administrative Assistant Day, because without those assistants, no telling, especially what my crew here would be like, even though they get mad at me some days and they don't like their schedules and how things changes. I'm going to toot my own horn here. I am the glue that holds these guys together. And for the years prior, it was Rhonda Stuart, and I learned from the best on that. So if you guys will hop over to our Facebook page, you guys can do that like, share, and contest for us. Also, he did not mention this, and it's another service that we offer. If you guys have raccoons, skunks, cats, all those critters that get in your attics, in your garages, in your crawl spaces, give us a call. We do trap those humanely, and we do have somebody that takes care of those for us. So we are able to take care of those issues for you. So we're kind of a wide range pest control company. If you guys have been to our Facebook page, you guys have noticed that over the weekend, we had a customer call. She had a swarm of bees in one of her trees. We were able to contact a beekeeper. She was able to get out quickly and get those taken care of for us. So we not only kill the bugs that need to be killed, but we are into saving the bugs that need to be saved.
Not everything in the world you need to kill. Some things you can encourage to go somewhere else.
Okay, we do have a few questions coming in. So about the virus disinfectant, one of the first questions is this a spray, a fog? Kind of what does that look like when you do that?
We go in, and it's usually two of us. We go in, they'll have like a kind of like a big fluffy car wash mitt. They'll wipe down any surfaces like light switches, doorknobs, anything that's touched like that, cabinet doorknobs, telephones, mouse, keypads, keyboards, anything like that. And then we'll follow behind that with the fog. And that covers from the floor to the walls, everything.
And this is a product, and most of our products that we use, unless it's specialized treatments, all the products that we use are human and pet friendly. So that's a big thing. I know for me as a parent that I want to make sure whatever we are spraying in my home and in our customers' homes, that it is going to be okay for small children, any children, elderly to be around, and our products are friendly for that.
That was one of the next questions is, can my dog be home whenever you do this? Do I have
house? Now, while we do this, we ask you to be out for maybe 20 minutes. That's just to let the everything settle. Everything will have like I wouldn't say damp, but on the couch or the chair, it might be a little moist.
Almost kind of like when you use your Febreze bottles and you spray Febreze like on your couches and stuff, it kind of gets a little misty. It's similar to that. So it may be a little damp for the first 15, 20 minutes, but it dries quickly.
So how long does it take to do the whole process? You have to kind of wait 15 or so minutes afterwards, but about how long does it take you to sanitize?
If you were to do a 4-bedroom house, it might be 2 of us. We're getting pretty good at it. Probably 30 minutes, maybe a little longer.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
Now you can go to our website, which is
StuartsPest.com.
I'm not a computer person. I'd rather be in the field with the guys chasing the bugs or something. I don't do office work, and I'm not a computer person. You can go there and you can actually see videos of where we've done businesses, food trucks, things like that, outdoor equipment.
One of the other questions that just came in about this specific process before I move to some of the others is, will you all be using this like for flu as well? Will this cover some of those things too?
Yes, this will cover the corona, strep throat, flu, the common cold.
Pretty much any contaminable sickness that is out there. This will disinfect and sanitize that.
So this is not just what's going on now. This could be 5 years down the road.
Okay. Here's another question. What do I do about wood bees?
You can give us a call. We can come out. We can either give you an estimate or else we can take care of it. A wood bee, what they'll do is they'll drill a hole. It's almost exactly a ½ inch. They'll kind of go in and then they'll go in both directions like a T. In the back of this T, they'll lay their eggs. And then they'll go out and they'll kill insects and stuff and stuff the hole full. Well, then they'll fill the hole in to where you go out and you say, I think there was a wood bee out here, but I can't find the hole. Well, when those eggs hatch, they will drill their way back out. And then they'll come back to the same spot next year. So what you need to do is have it sprayed and taken care of. Then you need to go in there and actually fill the hole in. Any deck with a good stain or a paint, they won't come bother with it. Now they will come mess with a deck that doesn't have any stain on it or a stain that's old. Log houses are the worst. They'll stain them once and then forget to come back and stain them again. That's something you got to stay on top of constantly. And it's not really the part that you see, it's the drip edge. It's underneath the log, underneath the deck. Those are the places.
Okay, so all these people with wood bee problems can give you a call and you can just come take care of it.
That's right.
Okay, what about, we had another question says, what about squirrels? Help.
Yes, we can absolutely come and help with squirrels.
Squirrels is a process that takes a while. You can put some one-way doors on some things. We have some stuff that we can do up in the attic or in the walls to run them out. But the problem with squirrels, if you don't really stay on top of it, they'll actually go to another spot in the structure and chew their way back in. So squirrels is a very big time consuming process.
We've got a question that's come in from Ronisha Clark. She wants to know if you all encapsulate crawl spaces.
We do. Yeah. And all of that just really depends on if the house is very low, no. If it that's just something we'd pretty much have to look at. All of those are, some of them can be difficult, some of them can be very easy. So that's just something that we'd have to look at. Okay.
Another question is, were you considered an essential business before you started the sanitizing? Was pest control considered essential by the governor's orders at that time?
Yes, it was. And we watch very carefully. We get emails from the National Pest Management Association asking, letting us know what we can and can't do. People don't realize that some bugs are a health hazard to us. Roaches is a big thing because they put off an odor, and especially children and people with asthma, it hurts with their breathing with those type of bugs. Of course, as you know, nobody wants a spider bite because they could be detrimental to someone's health. Bees, I mean, there is just so many health related issues related to bugs that we are able to take care of that help keep us essential.
We also take care of a lot of farm supply places and farmers and their grain bins. And let's just say a pest control stop for a month. The mice and the rat population would explode. They would jump into those grain bins and that would devastate the U.S. economy and the food chain. I mean, it all starts with the farmer.
Yeah, that's a really great tidbit of information that I wouldn't have thought of. That's a great way for us to understand part of what you do as well.
You have to start at the very beginning, and somewhere along the way, there is a pest control person.
We had another question come in that says, sorry, I'm reading on different screens here. It says, can you spray all of Hopkins County with this disinfectant?
For the right price, everybody leave your door open. We'll start on the north end and work our way south.
We've got another question that's come in from Eric Nance Whaler, and Eric wants to know what is the, it's a two-part question. First of all, what is the smartest pest that you've run into? And which one is the hardest to figure out how to control?
Oh, that's a good question.
And I don't.
I'm going to give my opinion here. I think the smartest one is probably going to be your ants. And that's only because they know how to work their way into the littlest of crevices, into the places that you don't want them the most, on your kitchen sinks, in your bathrooms. To me, I think, because that's what I get the most calls for is my ants. There's ants in my kitchen. I know there's ants here. I need to get rid of these ants. So how in the world are they getting there? Where are they coming from? And of course, we have to start with asking the questions of, okay, are you leaving food out? Are you leaving sodas out? Is there a tree touching the window or around the area? So I think, to me, that, just because me working in the office, I think that the ants are probably the smartest ones that I know of.
Yeah. What happens is ants will start at a colony, and then one single ant will find its way to your kitchen, your teenager's room who likes to leave a drink out. That happens at my house too. Who likes to leave a drink out. And what happens is that one ant that leaves the colony leaves the smell behind that ant. Now, once it finds food, it turns around and follows its smell back out of the house on the same trail. But then it changes that smell to a different smell, a pheromone. And that's why when you see ants come to one another and they touch one another, and then they'll go to the next ant and they touch one another, they're smelling on one another to be sure that it's still worth making the trip to get the food, or is the food running out and should I just turn around and go home now? So that's pretty sharp and that's pretty smart. And if we could take some of that knowledge and stick it into let's say the army. I mean, an army of ants can take over the world. Just imagine if you could put that into a person.
And probably the hardest one to get rid of, or the one that bugs us the most, I'm going to probably say it's going to be either bed bugs or roaches, just because roaches and bed bugs are the lovey bug, and they love to love on each other and share their wealth. So, and they are a travel bug too. So if, per se, Anthony had bed bugs and he came and visited myself or one of our employees, and he could drop off a few of those, and then that person could go somewhere and drop off another few. So it's like this big rotation of sharing bugs. So I think that would be the hardest to get rid of, but it's not a challenge that we're not willing to face.
I will say 10 years ago, you didn't have to take so much precaution about wearing rubber gloves. We were even wearing rubber gloves long before COVID ever started, just for the bed bug issue. These things will, if you just brush up next to a piece of furniture, they'll grab a hold of you. They're like ticks. They'll hitch a ride and they'll go right on home with you. So, I mean, we were wearing rubber gloves long before COVID ever started. And taking a lot of PPE precaution. And it all started with a bed bug, really. That's the one that just loves to hitchhike and head right on to the neighbor's house or your house or
stores. Be careful, really, whenever you go to stores and you purchase new clothing, because you always want to make sure you check those, because people before you may have them, they try that piece of clothing on, and then you may be taking home an extra little friend.
Makes sense. We have a few more questions coming in, and then we'll close up. One of the questions that's come in is, after you do the sanitization for COVID, all of this right now, is there any type of certificate that you give to a business showing that they've been sanitized, that they've taken extra precautions? Have you done that, or have you thought about doing that?
Well, what we usually tell them, yeah, we'll be more than glad to give them a certificate saying that it was done. What we've been telling a lot of businesses, is if your doors are still open and they're still coming in to visit, you will still have to take care of some of your hot spots. That would be like, let's say a bank. So if somebody came into the counter of the bank, you would still have to sanitize where that person is, probably in between every person. But as far as someplace that only the employees go, as long as they're washing their hands, it could last a month, maybe even more. So it just really depends on the traffic area and what most of the customers are touching and dealing with.
Okay, I answered the second part of that question of how long it could last. Karen wants to know, how are you advertising your new service, and how's that advertising going? What changes, what new things have you done to advertise?
Mostly we're just doing Facebook blast, as far as what we're doing. We're getting permission from the businesses that we are sanitizing to video. So we're kind of composing videos of what we're doing, so you guys can kind of see how it is. Mostly, like I said, we're just doing Facebook blast, word of mouth. Of course, we have been in contact with the city and let them know that we are available for services. We just have kind of sent letters out to some of our contacts that we know that are high traffic areas that are still essential and that are still open, that we are available for them. And I know probably a question that hasn't been asked, but it is probably in the back of somebody's mind, is how costly is this? How much is this going to cost me? It is not an expensive service. It's relatively inexpensive for us to come do this, even though we have added it as a new service. So our small business is able to still survive. We don't want to knock out the economic and make you pay big money for something that needs to be done. So we are trying to help our community while still helping us in order to do this.
And you might also hear it is also on the radio. It's on 4 stations on the radio too.
Mm-hmm.
We've got just 2 questions left. Eric wants to know, how do you stay informed on new techniques, treatments, and pests moving into the area?
We have everything in the world you can imagine. Emails coming every day. Of course, we have to keep up our credit hours too, to be able to keep our license and stuff like that. Each one of the guys are certified, so they have to keep so many hours of certification to be able to keep that. And there's always information. It's either through an email or the Kentucky Department of Ag will give us a call. They come visit us. So I mean, it's a constant flow of information.
Awesome. The last question that we have, and this is a question that we ask every presenter that presents in our community, is, first of all, we appreciate you being here and giving us information on your business, but we also want to be of benefit to you. So what is something that our community can do to help you?
The biggest thing is just make sure that you tell people about us. If you're on any social media, just make sure that you're sharing our posts, liking our posts. Word of mouth and sharing that on social media is such a big, supporting local. We support local and we want our locals to support us. We do have a lot of customers that's been with us since the very beginning, since Mr. Stuart took over in 1961. We still have customers. So it's our legacy and what we have built that's keeping us going. And we appreciate things like this, where we can able to get out and tell our story and let people know why we are essential, why we are still open, and why we do what we do.
And a lot of it, you can put radio ads out there all day long, but if your neighbor next to you tells you how good someone is, that goes a lot further than 50 radio ads.
Thank you all so much. We appreciate you all being willing to share your story, tell us about your business, and we appreciate every opportunity to support local, whether somebody's watching from Murray or Hopkinsville or Princeton or wherever. We are so glad to be able to share your story with them. And for all of you watching, we encourage you to share this story with your friends. And also, if you are interested in having an Innovate and Caffeinate in your community, please reach out to us. You can reach out my email to mtap@westcentralky.com. With you about how to get an Innovate Caffeinate started in your community. So we do have next week, we will be having Todd Duff with Innovations Branding House, I'm sorry, next Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. You should be able to see that on the screen now here in just a minute if you can't already. And we thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week. Thank you.